And now a quick word from our sponsors here at Viral Hip Hop News.
Hey yo, bring the fire all summer long with the big three and your homeboy Ice Cube. Starting July 10th on CBS, Thriller, and Fight TV. That's right, every Saturday. Bring the fire with the big three, baby.
And here from Viral Hip Hop News, letting my people know to go grab this bottle of miracle food right now. Chakradoctor.org put together some of the best ingredients on God's green earth to help your immune system, give you a cleanse and reboot that your body deserves. Don't wait for your miracle. Grab it in Miracle Food right now. Let's go. House of Lazenby 1970H is the continuation of the Lazenby family fighting for its independence in the criminal world from the mafia and the national agreement. This ongoing battle takes the Lazenby clan over international waters. Grab the House of Lazenby 1970H in the description box right now.
If they really believe that he did something. So, you know, there's a little bit for everybody in this case. It's pretty complex.
Right. So let's talk about, you know, the lawsuit. Matter of fact, let's go back. Let's talk about did you actually read, like, exactly, you know, did you read the whole deposition and everything about the Benadryl? We had an attorney from Indiana the other day, Mr. B.D. Williams, and he broke it down that it was actually Benadryl that was given to these ladies. Did you get that far into reading that?
Yes, and I also read the 79-page deposition, the 79-page court order from the Supreme Court, and that's mainly what I focused on. And that talked about the Benadryl versus Quaalude distinction there, right? Because there were portions in the depositions where he said, "I gave Benadryl, you know, just 3/2 of a Benadryl to the Constant," and so that's what Constant had. But the Supreme Court also noted that in other parts of the deposition, because he gave 4 depositions, and there were times when he didn't want to answer any questions. And when he didn't want to answer questions, the Condon's attorneys, they ran to the court and they made him answer. And what the Supreme Court said was that in some parts of those depositions, he did admit to giving Quaaludes or using Quaaludes with other women, not with Constant, but with other women. And so that was kind of the distinction there. But yes, there were Quaaludes involved. He admitted to using Quaaludes with women, but not with Constant. And Constant was the alleged victim in the trial that's been going on since 2018.
So we got the court of law, and then we got in 2021, especially the court of public opinion. And whether he's guilty or not, at this point, I guess is beside the point, because you have a lot of people leaning on the side of him being innocent, and a lot of people leaning on the side of him being 100% guilty. And I don't know what the percentages are, but I'm sure a lot of women in either community, because you see people within Hollywood and within entertainment, black and white, in particular, just females, upset about this verdict and saying that he's a monster and this, that, or the third. So when we talk about the court of public opinion, has his image, in your opinion, been destroyed regardless of the good news of him being released from prison?
Yeah, that's it's such a tough question, because let me tell you what I personally believe. But before I tell you what I personally believe, let me tell you that personal opinions don't matter at all. Right. I got a personal opinion and it doesn't matter at all. This is just an opinion that stays in my head. Right. And it carries no weight, right? So there's no asterisk or anything besides Bill Cosby. I don't think there should be, based on my opinion. It's not like my opinion's so important. I think that something went on with some of these women. I just, generally speaking, I don't know what went on because I wasn't there. I don't know exactly who. I don't know. But I think that something happened, right? Not necessarily with all of them. And some of them could have been lying. But if you tell me that there's 60 women, it's hard for me to believe that nothing ever went on with any of them. Having said that, that's just my personal opinion and it doesn't matter. All right. In terms of the court, in terms of the public opinion, it's interesting because let me take a step back for a second and talk about the justice system and our people. It used to be back in the 30s and the 40s that, you know, our father was lynched, or, you know, our uncle didn't come home. And, you know, maybe there was a facade of a trial, right? So our uncle doesn't come home, And 3 weeks later, there's a trial of 2 men down in South Alabama. And in South Alabama in the 40s, what does the all-white jury say? The all-white jury says, hey, he's not guilty, right? Now, you know, and I know, and everybody in our neighborhood knows what happened to our uncle. But the jury said he was not guilty. So are these 2 men innocent, right? Even if we have proof, even though there were witnesses, but it's an all-white jury in South Alabama in the 40s. But we're supposed to respect the law and say, listen, we all know what happened, but these 2 men are innocent, and let's go about our day. Because that's kind of how we have to live in society. We have to respect the rule of law. Well, 2021, you've got an incident with a man, and maybe some people think something happened, but the court says no. Now the shoe's kind of on the other foot, right? The shoe's on the other foot. And women who are against this, women have to, not necessarily women, because there are men who are upset about this too. And even I think something must have had to gone on with at least one of these women. So even I think something went on. But now that I'm an adult, I'm an attorney, I see the value of the legal system. I have to say, hey, I'm not going to put any asterisk by this man's name. When I talk about Bill Cosby, I have done videos about Bill Cosby in the past, and I've been critical about him. Why? Because the legal system said he was guilty. To me, if the legal system says you're guilty, that's kind of what we got to go on, even if we suspect something's different. Now the legal system has said not only is he not guilty, but that he got an unfair trial. And so I'm extremely happy that he's released to the extent that he got that unfair trial, even though I think something might have happened. So it's kind of hard to balance these two ideas. So in the court of public opinion, you say, is his reputation damaged? Is it beyond repair? I don't know. People who love Cosby are going to love him regardless. Yeah. It's like R. Kelly. I don't want to conflate the two. Listen, you put on an R. Kelly song, there's a lot of people in our community that are going to rock out to it.
Yes,
even though they knew what happened in that home down here in Atlanta. They suspect they know what happened. There were some things that weren't kosher going down in that home. But is his reputation tarnished? Or even with Michael Jackson. Right. Michael Jackson did a lot of good for our community, certainly entertained us, world-class elite entertainer. But there were these allegations swirling. So I think Bill Cosby falls in that same category where people who love him are going to love him regardless. There are people like me who think something happened, but we're not going to hold it against him because the legal system said that nothing happened. And if the legal system said that nothing happened, we're going to go with that. And then there are other people who are like, we don't care what the legal system said. Mm-hmm. We think we know what happened. And to not to give support to these people because I don't agree with them, but I will say this, in the 1940s in South Alabama, they had a point. They had a point when all these all-white juries were letting off white men who had done things to our brothers and sisters. They had a point back then. So does the fact that they have a point back then, how does that relate to what's going on now? So to me, it's just like, listen, I'm just going to go with legalities. For example, there was news today that came out that Sha'Carri, the 100-meter finalist, our 21-year-old strong sister, right? Yeah. She was going to the Olympics, and everybody knows she was going to win that gold medal. The question was she going to break FloJo's record? Yeah. And it's interesting because FloJo was bad. In my heart, I believe FloJo was on PEDs. And I see her race. Me too. I see that woman run. Yeah. I absolutely think she was on PEDs, but she was never tested. Well, she never failed a drug test for PEDs. I'm not even sure if they were testing her, but let's just say that she never failed a drug test for PEDs. So even though I believe she was on PEDs, I would never put an asterisk by her records, right? Yep. If she won it and she wasn't tested or none of her tests came back dirty, then you won it. And so that's kind of how I view this situation with Bill Cosby. Some people are happy that he's out. because of who he is. Some people are mad that he's out because of what they think he did. And then there are people in the middle like me who are like, man, the justice system worked for a black person. Now, there are people who feel that way like I do, but they're also upset that to get the justice system to work, you have to be a Bill Cosby. You have to.
Hip hop, hip hop, hip hop, hip bars is back. Hip hop, Sam and oh God, what's up with you? I done watched them niggas do interview after interview. They not culture vultures, the culture something they been into. So if you never gave them a view, I recommend you do. Cause when they question guests, they message is not subliminal. It don't matter if you a rook.